talk today about context clues. And I'm going to put a word up here on the screen. This word is befuddled. I want you to raise your hand if you know what this word means. Maybe one, maybe two hands. What if I put it in a sentence? Tom, thoroughly confused, was befuddled when the teacher asked him to complete the long division problem on the board. How many now think they might have an idea of what befuddled means? Well, in order to, the reason that was easier was because of context clues. Put your hands down. We're going to talk about this for a minute. Okay? The reason that it was easier to figure out what befuddled meant in a sentence was because there were other words in it, wasn't there? Okay? That's exactly what context clues are. If you look up here, it tells us context clues are bits of information from the text that allow us to figure out what an unknown word means. Okay? Context clues are to help you as the reader figure out what a word means. Okay? I'm going to put back up our sentence I just read. Tom, thoroughly confused, was befuddled when the teacher asked him to complete the long division problem on the board. What was the word that I asked us to figure out what it meant? What was that word? Befuddled. Now, as I'm looking at this, I see a clue. I see a clue that helps clue me in to what befuddled could possibly mean. And it comes beforehand. Does everyone see here? It says, thoroughly confused. So a context clue in this sentence to help me know what befuddled means would be thoroughly confused. Well, guess what, class? Befuddled means to be confused. To be confused. So as readers, we have to be able to look for clues before or after the word to help us. Sound good?
Yeah.
Where did I find this one? Did I find it before or after? Before. Will you help me do some more?
Yeah.
Okay, let's put another one up. Let's try a few. This excerpt that I'm going to read to you is from The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. How many of you have seen the movie The Wonderful Wizard of Oz? I think you'll know a little bit about this. What I want you to do right now from your seat, I want you to read this to yourself out loud. Okay? When I say go, I want you to read this to yourself out loud, and then we'll talk about it. Are you ready? On your mark. Get set. Go. Wow. You guys are going to have to learn to be loud when you work with Miss Blevins. I couldn't hear us too well. Did we all get a chance to read it? Okay. What is the unknown vocab word in here? What is the vocab word that we're trying to figure out what this word means? Right here in the middle. Frock.
Frock.
Does everyone see that word? Frock. Now I told you that a context clue does what? It's going to help us. And where are we going to find these context clues? Before or after the word. So if you look here, it was still a pretty frock. Does anyone see something before that helps clue us in to what the word frock could mean? What do you have? It says dress up here. Did anyone else? That word stood out? Anything else in here that might be a clue as to what frock means? Right there in the middle.
Still pretty.
Still pretty. We know it's a thing, right? They're describing it by saying it's pretty. Good. Yep.
She had to wash it carefully.
She had to wash it. So class, what do we think a frock could be?
Fabric or something?
Fabric, what else?
Being clean, like perfect.
Maybe.
Like
An article of clothing, absolutely. Absolutely. So we just figured out what frock meant, but was there a definition on this page? No, what do we use? Context clues. Will you try another one with me?
Yes.
We're going to use the same paragraph. Now this time I want you to read it, but I got to hear you all the way in the back. I need to hear you. I didn't hear you too good last time. I want you to read it again. But look this time. Here's our unknown vocab word.
I know what that is.
Well, I'm glad you know what it is. Okay? Gingham is the word we're trying to gather clues for, okay? So right now, I want you to read it out loud to yourself. Go. Oh, so much better. I heard you all say the word frock correctly that time, didn't we? So we have another job. We have another word that we need to figure out what the heck it means. Does anyone have a clue here? Okay, gingham is our word here. Help me here.
It's white and blue.
It's white and blue. Was that before or after? After. So this context clue, we found something that's after. What else?
Kind of old.
I'm sorry, say it one more time.
Kind of old and faded.
It says it's old and faded, okay?
I don't know if this is anything right, but it says that the other one's pretty frock.
Okay. Again, we've got that pretty frock, which we know is clothing, right? She had one other dress. Okay. With checks. So what then is gingham?
A dress or something?
What then is gingham?
A kind of dress.
It's a kind of dress. Can we get really specific for me? What kind of dress? Because it tells us in here. What's gingham?
Checkered dress.
Checkered. And what color does this gingham happen to be?
Blue.
Blue and white. So we now have been able to figure out the definitions of not one, but how many words?
Two.
Two. Did we have a dictionary?
No.
What do we use?
Context clues.
And where do we find context clues?
Before or after the word.
Before or after the word. Now, as we continue on learning, we're going to learn about different types of context clues. But for the next week with Ms. Schiavone and with your other teachers, I want you to use context clues. Any word that you come to that you don't know what it means, what could we try to do? Context clues. We can look before or after the word to find a hint at what it means. Okay? Tomorrow you're going to work more with context clues. Tomorrow you're going to work more with them. Today as you are reading, I want you to try to look before or after the word. Because good writers leave you clues as to what words. Thanks, guys.